Being able to vary your trajectory with your wedges in your short game is vital and is going to transform your game, make you get up and down more often. Make sure you check out this video where I share with you some real simple tips to improve your up and down rate. Three very different trajectories with the same wedge. I've got here a shot of 30 yards and I need some elevation. It's a little uphill, I've got to go over a bunker, but which trajectory is best for me? Well, what I want you to have in your locker is all three. And actually you can add in more, but I'm just starting with relatively simple, low, mid, high. And as I said, with the same wedge. Now, there's no reason why I can't start to actually look at varying the club, but this is a great skill to have, even if you have it in your locker, for when you need it. So practice time to get used to being able to then do it on the golf course. I'm just going to quickly bring up the data here, because I got three obviously very different flights. Annoyingly, it didn't pick up the dynamic loft of that last shot. As I said, I've got here 58 degree, and on the first one, I de-lofted it down to 48 degrees, 47.7. So I've taken 10 degrees of loft off the golf club and driven the ball in a little bit lower. Now you still actually saw the ball stop relatively quickly. I guess that's because it is a little bit uphill. So it dug its toes in a little bit more. But the second shot, I managed to hit it with about the same loft that the golf club has. So it's a 58 degree, and I hit it with near enough 58 degrees, 57.6. And the last one, annoyingly, it didn't pick up. I was trying some in practice, and I was getting the face about 10 degrees open and adding about 10 degrees of loft, so taking it to 68 degrees. So I was getting three distinctive flights. Now you can see that with the launch angle anyway. So if I went back to the ball info, the first shot, the low one, launching at 27 degrees. The second shot launching at 36 degrees. And the third shot, the high one, launching at 42 degrees. The spin rate also increased from 6 to 6.3 to 6.9. So higher launch angles and more spin as I delivered more loft to it. And as I said, this is a huge skill to have. And it's really not that tricky to start to learn. So what did I do differently on those three shots? The first one, I had the ball a little bit further back in my stance. I had my hand a little bit more forwards. That is going to take some loft off the golf club. It is also going to lower the bounce of the golf club. So the bounce just meaning here, if I push my hands forwards, I'm starting to go in with this front digging edge. So that's good as long as I get the ball first. That's very good from hard, firm ground conditions as well. But if I got the ground before the ball, I would dig and catch it heavy. So we have to be a little bit careful with this one. Great for hard, firm, tight lies. Very good if you're going to guarantee you get the ball first. Also pretty good to dig the ball out the rough, because we're going in with more of a leading edge here. When I actually are trying to hit it higher, I'm using more the sole of the wedge and actually getting this part to hit the ground first, and that's going to get the club to glide and skim. And that's really the bounce angle that we're discussing. So the first one, ball back, pressure a little bit more forwards, hand a little bit more forwards, and all I was trying to do in the swing there was almost not let the club overtake my hands. Now in reality it is, but there's not as much release. The club would finish lower. So my simple thought is when I want to hit it low, have a lower finish position. When I want to hit it high, have the club finish a lot higher. And that's all I really want you to think about once you've got the setup changes in there. So let's try one more of those low ones. Ball a bit further back, hands a little bit more forwards, and I'm going to be thinking about finishing low. Driving the ball in. Now, I've got enough space here. Oh, finished very close. I've got enough space here with where the pin is in the middle of the green. I could always take less loft and get that ball to land even shorter and run up there and roll up better. The method's going to be very much the same. I would just change the club and make a slightly shorter swing to get the ball landing a little bit closer to me. So rather than landing what was that, 27 yards to finish about 30, I could easily land that ball at 20 and get that ball to release 10 yards. But in this circumstance, I would need a little less loft. The mid one, I got the ball just forwards of centre where I play a normal pitch shot. I got my sternum in line with the golf ball rather than my sternum ahead of the golf ball. And importantly, with the handle, I got my hands back. So I'm now using the true loft of the golf club rather than pushing my hands forwards. Remember, pushing forwards, not only de-lofting, but taking the bounce off. So if I actually bring my hands back, I'm now activating the loft and the bounce of the golf club. This has got 10 degrees of bounce, so now I'm starting to use it. And you will see with the finish position, a little bit more release. The club is going to finish higher, meaning that by the time I get to the golf ball, my hands are more likely to be level with the golf club and ball rather than my handle being forwards. So there's a little bit more throw in the release to get that club more up in the air. Okay, clearly we can see I've recocked my wrists here. The club is more vertical. And I definitely take that one. It's pretty much flown 30 yards and stopped 30 yards right by the pin. Again, clearly a higher trajectory than the first one. That first one, the low one, I would expect it to roll more. Again, the reason it didn't is I've probably picked the wrong green here. I've picked something where it's a little bit above me and the green's going uphill. So it did dig its toes in. But I got a lot of loft there. I actually managed to add a bit of loft to the golf club even without having that club face particularly open. And the high one, I'm getting the ball even more forwards, opposite my left heel. I'm still trying to get my sternum in line with the golf ball because I still want my pressure forwards. Do not think you're going to hit high by leaning back. We've still got to have our pressure forwards. I want my hands back, so the end of the club again is belly button. I've opened the club face a little bit, and the important thing when we're thinking about opening the club face, and you don't have to do this, but if you open the face, do it before you grip it. So turn the face a little to the right before you grip. Now in a bunker play, I wouldn't adjust. I wouldn't aim further and further left. Off turf, I would, but I'm only going a little. You'll see here, it won't affect the direction that much, okay? So the face is open by a good 10 degrees. My body is a little bit to the left because it's compensating for the face aiming to the right. But I've just turned my body a little around. So I'm only around sort of 10 degrees or so open. And I'm just trying to throw the club. So I'm trying to get the feeling that the club passes my hands. Now golfers worry about this, but that's only going to go wrong if you're also leaning back. If you've got that pressure onto that lead foot and we throw, everything's going to be fine. So pressure forwards, handle back, and got lots of height, lots of elevation on that one. It did come up a little bit short. And that's the one thing you've got to think about is when you are changing the loft of the golf club, do you know how far that ball goes? If you do a lot of practice, then you're going to know that. If you're not practicing it enough, I would perhaps just stick to the low and the mid one, where at least we're getting a better understanding of it. But I guess the big part there is learn from practice. I got that ball launching at 47 degrees, 48, yeah, 47 degrees. So clearly a high launch. It's struggling to pick up the dynamic loft of the golf club when I'm opening the face that much, but I would obviously have a lot more there. Once you've got that with the one club, I've got then a 52 degree as well, so I could start to add in more pitching shots, and that's given me a lot of variety around the green. If you do enjoy the content, hit the thumbs up, share it with as many golfers as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Right now, YouTube is suggesting the next video of mine that's relevant for you. It's just here. I'd encourage you to click on it and check it out.